what we call the gateway to God in our consciousness. Here also, in our speech, this is the gateway to God. Here, in the consciousness, this is the gateway to God. But of these four stages of consciousness, which is the one which you are conscious of really? Which is the one which you can say, this is my state of consciousness, now I am here. This is the only state when you can say, I am here. Because here you are objective to yourself. You are second to yourself. You exist as a second person to yourself. Therefore you can say, now I am awakened, now I see you, now I drink, now I eat, now I enjoy. But it is false. Because enjoyment includes only yourself or not the second thing. If anyone says I am enjoying, he is not enjoying. Just as if anyone says I am sleeping, it is false. If he really sleeps, he can't say I am sleeping. Similarly, true enjoyment leaves only yourself and not a second thing. It is here you can enjoy. You cannot enjoy here. If you call these things enjoying, that means you don't know the meaning of the word enjoyment. Many people say that we enjoy a journey. They say we enjoy a holiday in the weekend. They have their wife and children in the car and drive for 200 or 300 kilometers. They get exhausted. And then they feel that they enjoy. But again they drive back for 300 or 400 kilometers on the Monday morning, Sunday night. They say that is weekend holiday. Yes, they are weekend. They say they enjoy. But one should be rationalistic to know if he enjoys and if it is true enjoyment. It is common sense that makes you enjoy life really. Not a concept or not an impression of what we call enjoyment. It is a profound common sense that makes life enjoyable at every step, in every minute and every second. You are entitled to enjoy life every second, provided you are aware of yourself and you are making a constant use of your profound common sense. There is no necessity of having any other state of existence than enjoyment if you know the secret. That is what the authors of scriptures say. They think, poor fellows, why they are struggling? They pity us. Why are you busy? They ask us. No, I have to go rush to the office, we say. What for? To work. What for? To earn. What for? To purchase things. What for? To purchase things. You know, there is a book called Half-Card Size Stories in German, translated into English. There is one story of the size of half card. There are 500 stories like that. One of the story goes like this in German. A boy was fishing in a lake, sitting. An old retired officer came there, said, "Boy, what are you doing?" He said, "Fishing." Then the officer asked, "No education?" He said, "No." He said, "I have education." Then the boy said, "And then?" "I am an officer." The boy asked, "And then?" He said, "I am earning $50,000 a month." The boy asked, "And then?" He said, "I married." The boy asked, "And then?" "I have 2 children." The boy asked, "And then?" "I gave a house, a garden, and a property to each son. The boy asked, and then he said, I can now sit down and enjoy leisure. The boy said, I am doing it now. Like this, you have 500 half-carved stories published in German language original in 1946, translated into English. Of course, my father made me read those translations. I very well remember this story. That shows how we are lacking in our common sense. So, here, we enjoy. Though we boast that here we enjoy, we don't enjoy here. We suffer here. But if we live here, we enjoy. But of these four states, you can say, this is my state. Here, you can say, this is a table, this is a chair, this is a light, this is a house, only in this state. So, 1/4 is out as objectivity. 3/4 are in darkness and eternity. That is what the stanza says. 1/4 of your existence, you know. The other 3/4 is there in heaven or light in eternity. These are only just two examples of this state. In the same way, the whole creation is the utterance of the background consciousness, which you call space unbound and its consciousness. In Sanskrit it is called Narayana. That is the consciousness of what we call space unbound. And from it, the creation is awakened as an impulse. An impulse comes, I should awaken. Just as you awaken from your sleep, the moment you are awakened from sleep, you are a master of your own limited consciousness. But what about the previous moment when you are sleeping? You are not a master of your consciousness. So, from such a state, one unit space will awaken into what we can call the I am of that unit space. There is the background I am, which is called Narayana. That is the space I am, the unbound I am of space. It is what is called potential or neutral of the creation. It is the zero of the creation. From it, a unit of space is every time is awakened into its own I am. When you can call it the active space. Previously it was passive space. That's why it is said space is active and passive in alternations. When passive, it is called dissolution or its own subjectivity or the words going into it, creation going into it, absorption. And when it is awakened, once again it is the beginning of one creation. Then it gets the spur that I should awaken. Then it gets the spur. I should awaken as my own idea and my own thought of my own concept of creation. Then it awakens into the many divisions of creation which we call the planes. Planes of creation, which are mainly 7 in number, each having 7 subdivisions, each subdivision having 7 subdivisions, like that, the scales of 7. See, so it has its own language into which it awakens. First, it gets this spur, I should awaken. Then it gets this spur that I should awaken as myself. Then it gets this spur, I should create my own concepts as this creation. And the fourth stage is what we call the objective world, all the living beings created and sent out as the many I ams on the background of the one I am. Just as the many little bottles thrown in a river. The bottles are there in the river, but the river is also there in the bottles. The water is there in the bottles also. If you throw little vessels in a river, no doubt the vessels are in the river, but river is in the vessel also. Similarly, the I am, which is called the highest God, he is there in everything. This is what we call our own ego, or the limited I am. The same I am awakens in every vessel as the individual I am. Am I clear? So this happens in 3 stages, and the objective existence of this creation comes out as the 4th or the objective stage. That's why all this creation, everything which we can know and which we can express, is 1/4 of the total. Within itself, there are the other 3/4 which belong to eternity. Of course, for the present, this much we can explain, because our time is limited and we have time only for a sampling business of how to read the scriptures. So this is the formula which exists everywhere in creation. For example, when a fertilization takes place to have a body, the child takes its fecundity or the development in the womb of the mother for 3/4 of an year. That's it. And then the birth takes place. And then we have 90 degrees of the year remaining still, 1/4. From the time of fertilization, 3/4 or 3 sectors of the year is completed. There is 1 sector. 90 degrees will be covered by the Earth's journey around the sun within how many days? Between 90 and 93 days. It may be sometimes 90 or sometimes 93. According to that particular season, the sun travels over 1 degree or a little more or a little less a day. Because he travels 365 and 1/3 days, 360 degrees. Degrees are only 360, but he travels not only 360 days, but 365 and 1/3 and recurring. This one you have. And here, just as we are born, we enter into another plane of action called the biological plane. Then each of these days are made years. That's why it is said, our years are God's days. You take the book of Proverbs in Old Testament. It is written, God's days are our years. It's not a cock and bull story, but it is a scientific statement which should be properly understood. God's days are our years. It appears childish sometimes. When we are idiots, it appears childish. In Sanskrit, in the scriptures also, in every scripture, it is said that 1 year of the humans is equal to 1 day of devas. You see, they are highly scientific calculations. And also, 1 lunar month of the human beings is 1 day of the Pitris. That is, from full moon to full moon, we call it 1 month. The calendar month is not a scientific month. The lunar month is the true month. Because what is the etymological meaning of the word month? Belonging to moon. If you take a solar calendar or Gregorian calendar and count from the 1st to 31st and call it month, it is absurd, unscientific. Because months are counted in the womb of the mother only in lunar months and years. See, because the menstrual periods have their periodicities only according to the lunar months, not according to the calendar months. So you have to decide the month according to the phenomenon in nature, not according to the calendar that is printed. If I say it is new moon today, do you accept? Suppose I print it in an almanac that it is new moon today. You don't accept because new moon belongs to something in nature, not the calendar. Like that, here also, we have a magnification. That is, each day is magnified into 1 year of our span. And this is the average physical span on this year, 90 to 93. And the rest of the degrees, when properly entered, we will enter into the remaining span. It may be 100 years or 120 years sometimes. But the calendar span for a physical body is 93 years. Of course, there are many calculations about it. For the present, it is enough to know that 3/4 of the preparation of before our birth is covered in darkness, the mother's womb, and we come out into the remaining 1/4. These are just 3 examples of the application of this stanza. In the same way, the whole creation is uttered out as a word in 4 stages, just as we had our own utterance. The impulse to utter, the concept forming, the mental language, and the objective. These are the 4 stages of the creation as the utterance of the Creator. See, that's why the Creator is said to be four-faced in the scriptures. He has four faces, the Brahma. But it is said only one face speaks. The other three faces are dormant. It is the same in the cinemas and dramas also. We find in the cinema, if Brahma comes as a character, there are three other dummy heads which do not speak, and only one head speaks. Because in the drama or cinema, the fellow can have only dummy heads. Three, because nobody can have four heads. The actor comes to the stage with three dummy heads which do not speak, and only one head is speaking. Then we just enjoy that it is true also in the drama. But here in the creation, well, the fourth stage of creation is the utterance of the creation. That's why the Rig Veda has another Suktham called the Suktham of utterance, called Saraswati Suktham also. There also you will find a similar idea saying that four are the stages of the word we utter. Three stages exist in the cave of darkness inside us, and the fourth we are speaking. That is there in what we call the Saraswati Suktham, or the hymn of the utterance, goddess of utterance. So this is the actual significance of the 1/4 and the 3/4 described till now. Then we will try to understand the fourth mantram or the stanza. We have just tried three. Another interesting thing about this is, I told you, the meter in which these mantras are written is 8 syllables each. The first 3 lines put together forms Gayatri meter. And the fourth is called the fourth stage of utterance of creation. Therefore, the Gayatri meter is taken into consideration, and a fourth line is added in the meters given here. Total making 32. I told you in the beginning that the meter of the verses given here is 32, because he makes it into 4. 3 are symbolic of the words that are there inside dormant, and the fourth is this symbolic of the world that is coming out. He wants to explain it, therefore he explains in the meter that forms the 4 lines. The first 3 he calls it Gayatri, the fourth he calls it the creation Monday, or objective creation. That's why every mantra has 32 syllables when you count, according to Sanskrit syllabic division. This is just by way of interest. This is the first line of the next stanza. Tripad Urtva Udait Purusha Pado Syeha Bhavat Puna. Pado Syeha, S-Y-E-H-A. S-Y-E-H-A. Bhavat Puna. That is the second line. Tato Vishwan Viswang. Nyakram. Nyakramst. Nyakram. That's the third line. That's the fourth line. Sāsyana Nachane Abhi. Sāsyana Sāsyana. You can take the intonation also here. Sāsyana Nachane Abhi.
Nashan.
Sāsyana Nachane. This is short. This is short, not long. Nachane Abhi. So, this is the fourth stanza, which we have to split up into words. Tripa, first word is same thing, no change. Tripa, one word. Urtva, one word. Udait, one word. Purusha, another word. No change. Here, we have change. If we split up, it becomes Padaha. Padaha becomes Pado in grammar. Asya. Here, you have to supplement A, which is conglomerated in grammar. Padaha Asya. When joined becomes Padosya. So here there is a which comes out when you split up. Asya. Iha. Asya plus Iha. Bhavat. Bhavat. Sorry. Bhavat. The intonation should be the second E. Long. This is long. This is not long. Bhavat. Punaha. So this is two sentences in 2 lines. We'll take the meaning first of these 2 lines. Purushaha is the subject, the person whom we are speaking about. Tripath of the 3 quarters. Path means quarter. Tripath means 3 quarters. That is 3/4. Tripath means of the 3 quarters. Urtvaha. This means upward. Then upward. Urtva means upward. Udait means sprouted. Sprouted. Sprang up. So the person sprouted up through the 3/4. So this is explaining the previous stanza. So the workings, the undercurrent workings of the 3/4 made the Purusha sprout up into creation or objectivity. Then Asya, that means his. In Protata, you take like this, second line. Asya, his. Padaha means 1/4. Asya Padaha, his 1/4. That means the remaining 1/4. Iha means this. Bhavat means became. Became. Bhavat means became. Punaha means again. Again, his 1/4 became this creation. That is, he is explaining. At every time, he works out the 3/4 dormantly and sprouts from it out. And when he sprouts out, the remaining 1/4, it becomes this. That is all this world. Say, That is the import of the first two lines. Now the next. We take the first line, it becomes Tataha. If you split up, it becomes Vishwak. In grammar it becomes Vishwak when joined. When split up it becomes Vishwak. This remains the same, no change. You can take it as it is. Nyakra. Now meaning. And the third line. Tataha means then. And also it means afterwards. Henceforth. That is what we say. The word Tataha means then, and also it means afterwards or thenceforth. From that point onwards. Vishwak means in all directions. In all directions. Multi-dimensionally. In all directions. Nyakram. Occupied fully. Nyakram. That is occupied fully. The person about whom we are speaking, he has fully occupied this creation in all directions and all dimensions during the 1/4 sector which came out. So he has pushed the 1/4 out and then he occupied every part of it. See, wonderful fellow. This is the third line. Then the fourth line. Sasana, split up. Then Anashane. Sasana plus Anashane. Abhi. So here we have three words in the fourth line. Sasana means organic. Anashana means inorganic. Organic and inorganic. Abhi means, it's a peculiar word in Sanskrit, relative pronoun. Towards each other. Towards each other. It's a wonderful word. If we stand face to face, they say you are standing abhi. That is, you are facing him, he is facing you. So they say abhimukham in Sanskrit. That means when I face you, when you face me, when we are talking, they say they are talking abhimukham. Saja anasane abhi. That means he has fully occupied the 1/4 with the organic working towards the inorganic and the inorganic working towards the organic. Or more clearly speaking, the biological kingdom being analyzed into the non-biological or mineral kingdom when the bodies are destroyed. Let it be a plant body or an animal body or a human body or a worm or a germ or a bird. If the living body of a living being is analyzed, the analysis takes the organic kingdom into the minerals of the inorganic kingdom. So it is working towards the inorganic. Again, when there is an advertisement that Mr. So-and-so is to be born, there is a fertilization takes place. These fellows are attracted from the inorganic kingdom to the organic kingdom to make a body. So whenever there is a birth going to take place of a plant or an animal or a human being or a worm or a germ, there will be an advertisement, tendered call for in the paper. Then these fellows, inorganic agents, they come and supply into the body to form the organism. So the inorganic works out into the organic when a birth takes place. The organic is analyzed into the inorganic when a death takes place. It is a drama. So this fellow is driving in two ways. This person, wonderful fellow, he has occupied every bit of the 1/4 and he is occupying through the inorganic and the organic, each facing the other. The one towards the other. That is how he is working. Now, let us take down the graph translation, import. The Purusha who pervades the remaining 3/4 again sprouts up into the remaining 1/4, and he stands as this world which we know, From it, he began to pervade in all dimensions, from the organic to the inorganic, and from the inorganic to the organic, and from the inorganic to the organic. So, that is how he pervades.